Getting up close with wild animals might sound exciting, but things don't always go as planned. While some encounters can feel magical and unforgettable, others quickly turn into frightening nightmares. From peaceful safaris that take a sudden turn to intense, heart-stopping face-offs, here are 20 animal encounters that went horribly wrong. Number 20. Great White Shark Attack. Diving in a cage may seem like a nice, safe, sensible option, but it really does rather invite the sharks to break open a lunchbox, don't you think? Sharks may not be out there just eating all the people all the time, but some places in the world have a bigger problem than others. So, cage diving is probably a bit silly, especially in shark-infested waters. And in some places, the sharks seem to be extra mean and deadly, like here in Gansby Beach in South Africa. Well, actually, there are several beaches in South Africa that are positively riddled with sharks, and they're all a bit ravenous. But this particular stretch of beach is known as the Great White Shark Capital of the world. For most normal people, this would definitely not be an invitation to take a plunge or even risk a toe in the water, to be honest. But apparently, some absolute nutters just seem to find the addition of deadly predators even more compelling. This area is especially popular amongst thrill-seeking divers. It's common for them to use shark cages to take a dip, but even so, it seems more or less insane however you happen to look at it. It was a great white shark that stalked the coastline of the famous 1975 movie Jaws, and this really is one massive and terrifying sea monster. The great white is purpose-built as a killing machine with so many adaptations and features designed to make this shark one of the most efficient hunters on the planet. They have 3 rows of viciously sharp teeth, about 300 of them in all. It seems that as many as half of all shark attacks on humans in the world today may be attributed to great whites. Although these sharks may not always be out there to try and kill a human, they simply nibble on them. And I don't know how you can tell whether a shark has good intentions or not. And some scientists have suggested the shark is merely curious and taking a sample taste of a human, but will discard them when it realizes that they are not really what it's looking for. Not too comforting for the victim, though. The sheer size and enthusiasm of one bite can mean that many great white snack-sized nibbles end up being fatal. Anyways, number 19. Close encounter with Cape buffalo. Even though a Cape buffalo has absolutely no interest in eating you, it is still a massive and extremely dangerous animal that is equipped with some extremely effective poking devices on its head. And if it feels threatened, the Cape buffalo will use these to impale a predator, and will also use its massive weight to help ensure its own survival as well. So, if you happen to freak out a buffalo, it may well be ready to defend itself. Oh, and they do also live in herds. So, you may not be dealing with just one of these formidable animals, but anywhere between a few dozen to literally thousands. They can each weigh up to about 2,000 pounds. And of course, don't forget those deadly horns. Number 18. Yellowstone bison charges tourists. There is a standard list of things not to do to massive wild animals. At the very top of that list is to taunt them. After that, it probably follows with stuff like no poking, no hair pulling, no name calling. So, all of these general rules of dealing with big, dangerous animals should be at least given a cursory glance, especially if you're headed out to a place which is full of very large and grumpy animals. Bison are absolutely massive. These gigantic beasts can weigh a whopping 2,000 pounds. So, if a couple of big fat male bison begin kicking off in front of you, it can be quite the sight. Yellowstone Park in the United States is home to around 5,000 bison. Spotting a herd of these big animals lumbering across the landscape is not all that unusual. But seeing a fight break out between 2 rival males on the road right in front of your car, that's a little less common. These gargantuan creatures wallop each other with such force that one of them is literally lifted off the road and thrown to the ground on the opposite side. Oh my god. As bison are able to run at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, and these hulking creatures get especially grouchy during mating season, it's not recommended that people get too close. Even being in a vehicle at this distance would likely do little good to protect you from the full force and hefty weight of a bison if it landed on your car. Crunch. That's going to sting a bit. Number 17. Giant crocodile encounter in Western Australia. Next up, we have another moment where the people involved really wondered if they were about to breathe their last breath. This time we're with some fishermen in Western Australia. If you voluntarily go out onto the extremely crocodilian waters in this country, then you are probably at least somewhat prepared to encounter a massive toothsome croc from time to time. But you also hope that they'll have already eaten and will not be in a bad mood. This crocodile appeared to be neither full up nor friendly when it scared the bejesus out of these fishermen. But there you go. That's Australian stuff for you. It will try and kill you. Saltwater crocodiles are the biggest species of croc in the whole entire world. And they do have a whole bunch of these animals in Australia. Of course, they do deserve their title as the biggest crocodiles. These guys generally measure in around 17 feet long and weigh anywhere around 1,000 pounds. But it's actually not uncommon to find examples that are an astonishing 23 feet in length and a gargantuan 2,200 pounds. Yikes! The opportunistic saltwater croc lies in wait just below the surface of the water near the shore. It is a prime spot for catching a bit of lunch, as many animals will come to the water for refreshment. And as they pause by the edge, the crocodile takes its chance, and in one swift, sudden movement, it grabs a hold of its prey and pulls it underwater until it drowns. The crocodile is not a picky eater. It's going to take anything that passes by. From a monkey to a wild boar, a water buffalo to a shark. There's not many creatures that can escape once a crocodile has them in its vice-like bite. Number 16. Florida man catches alligator. Here we are with a Florida man. These guys are always up to some sort of shenanigans, and this one seems to have been drawing attention to himself by messing about with an alligator, giving everyone on the internet a lesson in what not to do if an alligator is hanging out in your driveway. This particular man decides that he has very little regard for his own life and limbs and is going to make that alligator angry. Good work, that guy. So, what better way to irritate a really strong and very bitey reptile than to attempt to capture it in a trash can? No less. Naturally, that man has ensured that he is being filmed by at least 2 different people as he takes on the foolish task of wrestling a mad gator with a cumbersome waste receptacle. What could possibly go wrong? Well, a lot actually. But for this Florida guy, that is more as a result of luck than judgment. Somehow, he manages to scoop the furious alligator into the trash can and casually holds down the lid as he wheels it to a more suitable alligator area. Then the guy pushes the bin over. The alligator is freed and goes into the bushes. Lucky this time. But seriously, don't try this at home. There are actually services out there that will come and help you with wild animals that might end up eating you. So, it's best to leave it to the professionals and their nets and tranquilizers and all of that jazz. Now it's time for today's topic. In April 2025, a group of Japanese fishermen operating off the coast of Hokkaido reported a chilling encounter that they describe as the largest shark ever witnessed in Japanese waters. According to their accounts, it was just before dawn when their trawlers' nets began shaking violently. Moments later, a massive shadow rose beneath the surface, followed by the unmistakable shape of a colossal shark. The fishermen estimated the animal's length to be well over 50 feet, dwarfing their 70-foot vessel. Unlike an ordinary great white, this shark's head was massive and wedge-shaped, its jaws filled with jagged teeth that gleamed in the dim light. For nearly 20 minutes, the creature circled their boat, slamming against its sides as if testing its strength. At one point, it lunged partially out of the water, its gaping mouth wide enough to swallow a rowboat whole. Fearing the shark would capsize them, the crew cut their nets and powered away at full speed. Even then, the predator continued to follow for several minutes before disappearing into the dark waters. Marine authorities in Japan have not confirmed the sighting, but the crew remains adamant that this was no ordinary shark. Many now whisper that it could be a surviving megalodon, or an unknown species lurking in the northern Pacific. Number 15. Giraffe Encounter. One of the first rules of a safari park is to keep your windows up, so the massive animals don't stick their heads in your car or eat you or whatever. I mean, it's not rocket science, people. But perhaps it is too much for some people's particularly smooth brains. This video captures the moment that an especially dopey woman does an especially dopey thing at the West Midlands Safari Park in the United Kingdom. The giraffe pokes a curious head into the open window to reach for some food, and the woman in the car evidently fails to engage her brain and begins to close the window. Now, if you close a car window on a giraffe's head, what do you really think is going to happen? Well, you might not anticipate the glass would shatter all over the place. Oh, this is a surprising outcome. But the other option is that the giraffe's head just gets stuck in the window. Neither are exactly all that great, least of all for the poor giraffe. Having its head all squished and then glass smashed all over the place is not really a great outcome, however you may look at it. Honestly, some people. Number 14. Baboon Attacks Car. The area of Cape Point in South Africa is home to some huge numbers of baboons. These animals are a frequent sight in this region of the country and can often be found doing random vehicle inspections alongside the road. Why be shouting at the husband and the baboon back again? Record that. Record that. I mean, seriously, these monkeys get the most of their food from encounters with humans on the road. They've learned to search vehicles with extraordinary efficiency. And if they do spot a vehicle slowing down, they'll be on top of it within a matter of moments, performing a search as extensive as border guards with a cocaine tip-off. These baboons do mean business, and they will not take no for an answer. It appears that the baboons are not only after the cars, though. They're also fairly aggressively chasing down the people who have ventured perhaps somewhat foolishly outside of their vehicles. Although the footage captured does show the animals lining the roadside as if waiting for a Disneyland parade, it's still a menacing sight which, if you squint a little bit, feels just like the Planet of the Apes. Number 13. Angry rhino charges car. If you were a rhino, you may feel nervous around humans. It's not as if people are exactly unthreatening to the species. The few rhinos that are left in the wild are still at great risk of poaching. Their horns have been long considered valuable, even though their horn is made of the very same stuff as our fingernails, nothing else. And the disgusting illegal trade in rhino horns has resulted in these animals being hunted to the verge of extinction. So, it's no small wonder that these rhinos, as they appear to be protecting a young calf, charge at the vehicles. People are a threat, and they may well have encountered poachers at some point in their lives. So, they know the real danger that people can represent. However, rhinos are also ready to fight back and protect themselves. These animals typically weigh around 1,760 to over 3,000 pounds, but there have been some as big as 6,385 pounds, and you wouldn't want one of these chaps stepping on your toes. Equipped with 2 horns and an extremely strong and powerful frame, the rhino's strength lies in its ability to charge at potential aggressors and then overpower them with brute force. Unfortunately, the poacher still seems to have the upper hand despite the rhino's apparent strengths, and these beautiful creatures are running out of time. Number 12. Lion opens car door. Lions are pretty smart animals. That's clear enough. But did you know that these guys have figured out how to open car doors? It's kind of worrying for all of you safari fans. I'm sure this inquisitive lioness seems to be very interested in this particular car as a row of traffic waits in Kruger National Park in South Africa. She's looking very intently at the car door, and it turns out that she's just figuring out if she can open it. No biggie. Okay, I know. I mean, from the inside the safety of a car, most people feel fairly confident that lions and other massive predators that they might encounter in Kruger Park are not an immediate danger to them. But I wonder just how many people are driving around with their car doors unlocked. I guess that all those tasty-looking humans driving through the park might just look like easy prey. If only the lions could figure out how to get those wrappers off. Well, that's just what some of them are learning how to do. Yikes. Kind of makes sense if you think about it, though. Lions in a safari park are constantly observing human behavior and picking up a few ideas along the way. So, it just makes you wonder what else they may be learning. Number 11. Hippo attacks wildlife photographer. These big beasts are really aggressive, but they mostly use their jaws to eat plants up to 80 pounds of grass per day. Hippos are generally herbivores, although they do sometimes eat a dead animal, including the occasional hippo. Yikes. A grumpy hippo will show its displeasure by opening its mouth really wide in a super threatening manner or by charging toward the source of its irritation. Either way, they may look cute, but keep a safe distance because these creatures can be fatally bad-tempered. Apart from the hippo's mighty jaw, their immense weight is another source of their power. A charging hippo is a scary sight to behold, and they can and do frequently squash living things to death, even if by accident. And even though that looks like a grin, these guys are not as friendly as they may seem. Interactions with humans can be fatal. Hippo attacks kill as many as 500 people a year, and these animals are fiercely territorial. They will defend their space with the use of deadly force without a second thought. And so this group of people who were traveling along a road when a hippo took umbrage with their vehicle were well right to be alarmed. They were stopped in Val water to watch the hippo from what they thought was a safe distance. That hippo didn't enjoy being peeped at and was quick to let them know. The people were lucky to be able to beat a hasty retreat in their car, and the hippo was apparently tranquilized and then relocated, which seems a tad bit unfair to be honest. Number 10. Mother saves children from snake. What with all the stuff that can kill you in Australia, it's absolutely amazing that people ever do manage to make it through the day unscathed at all. There are poisonous snakes, spiders, bushfires, deadly sharks, and all manner of dangerous sea creatures like stonefish and box jellyfish. Oh, and of course, there are lots of crocodiles. So, the occasional close encounter with a death dealer is probably just par for the course for tough Australian. Even so, when a deadly eastern brown snake decides to hang out on your doormat, it can still be a bit of a nuisance. The encounter between a young family and the venomous snake was captured on CCTV outside of their home. Twin girls and their mother went out of their door only to discover a snake curled up on the mat. Unfortunately, their arrival spooked that animal, and it began to head towards the little girls. Their mother then managed to perform some superhero maneuvers and pull the children out of harm's way with lightning-fast reaction, saving those girls from the deadly bite of this cold-blooded killer in the end. Number 9. Tiger Safari. Well, these people narrowly avoided a big catastrophe when out for a casual drive by the forest in India. I mean, good grief, this is a heart-stoppingly anxious few moments of film. You could only imagine how it must feel to be pursued by a tiger. These people actually know how it feels. To begin with, The tiger seems to be minding its own business as it skulks around in the long grass. This is a good opportunity to see how well its camouflage actually works in its natural habitat. It can be difficult to spot exactly where the big cat goes, but after a bit, it appears to take umbrage with the loitering jeep and its nosy Parker people and comes rather too close for comfort. The tiger didn't appreciate the noise and disruption in its personal space and performed what appears to be a mock charge in order to suggest to the people that it was probably time that they left. Tigers can run up to 40 miles per hour, which is just as fast that the jeep could go on this dirt track. So, there's really no doubting that this tiger was just showing that he could have gotten them if he wanted to. Number 8. Lion charge. Next up, we have another close encounter with a lion where this time the massive male lion is being observed by some people on a safari. They appear to be taking photos and admiring the huge creature when it suddenly becomes aware of them and that they are edging rather too close. So that lion moves towards the people and makes a strong recommendation that they back off. It does a kind of mock charge. No doubt the people's hearts were in their mouths when the lion makes its approach, but it seemed that it really wasn't all that interested in wasting any energy on them, but simply wanted them to just go away. And fair enough, really. Number 7. Tiger attacks tour bus. Next up, we have some janky-looking footage of a bus on a safari somewhere unknown. The spooky. Anyways, this tour bus appears to be a kind of cage in which the visitors sit and are transported through the very up-close and personal experience of meeting the animals that live in the safari park or whatever sort of facility this may be. There may be a little confusion, however, because it seems that these tigers may view the people on the bus as an exhibit. And frankly, given the fact that people are in a cage and the tigers are the ones stalking around outside and pressing their faces up against the wires to get a better look, well, that could be the case. Let's just hope that the distinctly clanky-looking old bus doesn't break down, or it looks as if these curious tigers might be able to figure out how to break into that cage. Number 6. Pride of Lions Attacks Car. Just how safe is your tiny little fiberglass box on wheels in a safari anyway? Now, sure, you keep the windows up, but what if a lion gets really interested in your vehicle? What if a whole pride of lions then decides that they are obsessed with your Hyundai? Well, it's a squeaky bum moment, that's for sure. But it does and can happen. An entire group of lions started showing rather too much interest in this blue compact vehicle that's driving through a wildlife area in South Africa. The lions begin with what looks like licking and pawing the vehicle before more of them then arrive, and they all start to show rather too much interest in the little blue car. Then this escalates, and there are several lions each taking turns to test out the strength of the car and the sphincters of the passengers inside of it. No doubt eventually that car manages to escape from the nosy big cats and then drives away unscathed. Number 5. Close encounter with a bear. The people in this video seem really rather calm about the enormous grizzly bear that is bouncing towards them at great speeds, especially since it's springtime and there is still next to nothing for the bear to eat out there. So, it's no wonder it's so interested in these people. Then you discover the video was filmed in Alaska, where seeing a bear running toward you, well, that's just par for the course and nothing to be concerned about. Besides, you are definitely packing. So, they repeatedly tell the hungry bear that they are not food. You wouldn't imagine that this was the best method, but it does seem to be what they're going with. And then they talk about standing separately, and then they just kind of yell a bunch of stuff about how the bear should leave, and then it does. So what is all the fuss about bears anyway? Maybe you just need to tell them to go away and then they will. Again though, don't try this at home. Number 4. Cheetah jumps into safari car. In a genuine squeaky bum moment, this safari tourist got slightly closer to the wildlife than was promised in the holiday brochures. While spending spring break in Africa on safari, photographer Peter Hyson captured some extraordinary images when the tour group he was leading had a close encounter with some cheetahs in Tanzania's Serengeti. The tour had stopped for lunch near a group of cheetahs, and as they were watching the animals, they realized that some of them were becoming quite interested in the vehicles, moving together directly towards the tourists. One of the cheetahs jumped onto the hood of a vehicle, which the guides assured the group was quite common, as the big cats are looking for higher ground so they can survey the area that's around them. What happened next was unusual, though. Another cheetah suddenly leapt through a window and into the back of the car. With his heart no doubt in his mouth, tourist Britton Hayes managed to stay still and keep calm while he had his picture taken with a very close-up cheetah. Well, those were definitely some exciting holiday snaps to take home and show to his mom. Number 3. Elephants chase tourists. Seeing elephants in their natural habitat is a huge thrill for anybody. This group of German tourists were so super excited when a family group of elephants crossed the road in front of them as they drove through Kruger National Park in South Africa. It was a magical moment. Then closer to their vehicle, they spotted two male elephants who had split off from the group and appeared to be acting in an aggressive way towards each other. The tourists leaned forward, wide-eyed, as the massive bulls squared up, ears flaring and trunks curling in tension. A hush fell over the car, broken only by the clicking of a camera trying to capture the once-in-a-lifetime sight. The ground trembled faintly beneath the weight of the animals, and one of the children whispered nervously, sensing that the air had shifted from awe to danger. A ranger passing by on another track later recalled that bull elephants in must are notoriously unpredictable, their testosterone levels surging to dangerous highs. The tourists inside the vehicle had no idea how close they were to testing that theory in real time. With hearts pounding, they realized that while they had come to witness wildlife, they were now part of the encounter themselves. Now, the people in the car are fairly sure that they're about to witness the bull elephants get into a fight. But suddenly, one of the elephants seems to spot the vehicle and takes umbrage with it. Before they realize what's happening, the huge 5-ton creature is right beside the car and almost immediately has prodded at the rear window with a tusk. The force and strength of a cross elephant's tusk is more than enough to cause a whole lot of damage to whatever might find itself in the way. In this case, the window shattered, but the tourists were very lucky to come away from the incident unharmed, even commenting that they had lost the deposit on their hired car. Does insurance even cover the act of an elephant? Number 2. Camel sticks its head into car. While visiting a safari park in Alexandria, Louisiana, this guy got a little bit more intimate with the wildlife than he'd ever expected, and with hysterical results. The friends are traveling through the safari park in their car when they reach the camel area. The camels know exactly what a car with open windows means, food, and they aren't messing about either. AJ and Callie are laughing hysterically as they drive through the enthusiastic camels area. Suddenly, one camel shoved its entire head inside the car and snatched the food cup straight out of AJ's hands, sending pellets scattering all over the seats. Another camel followed right after, drooling across Callie's lap as it tried to root around for leftovers, leaving her squealing with laughter. AJ panicked so badly that he nearly dropped his phone while trying to film, and in his scramble to get away, he practically dove headfirst into the back seat. One camel even managed to poke its long tongue through the window and brush against AJ's shoulder, making him scream in a way his friends wouldn't let him forget. A nearby family in another car started laughing at the chaos and began filming too, turning the moment into an instant viral clip. The park staff later said camels are known troublemakers and always target the most nervous-looking visitors for fun. The animals clearly weren't going anywhere without more food, and for several long minutes, AJ and Callie were stuck in a rolling traffic jam of camel heads blocking their view of the road. By the time they finally shook off their slobbery visitors, their car looked like it had been through a food fight, and both of them were crying from laughter. The camels stick their heads through the car window to get at the cups of food that they have in, and they poke in their inquisitive noggin right into the car, sending AJ into a total freakout as he scrambles to get away by jumping into the back seat. Callie just continues to laugh her head off all through the event, and the camels keep pursuing their car through the safari park. And the hilarity just goes on and on. Oh, these crazy kids. Number 1. Bear encounter in Canada. Well, this is all rather exciting and extremely dangerous. This guy appears to have been skateboarding down a road in Canada somewhere beside the forest, which could really be anywhere in Canada, to be honest. And for some reason, he's filming it. But it turns out to be lucky that he was, because there at the side of the road is a black bear just minding its own Canadian business when this joker rolls up way too close and gives the bear something interesting to play with, a skateboard. At first, the bear just stares at him, its head tilting as if trying to figure out what kind of strange prey or toy had suddenly rolled into its world. Then, to everyone's shock, the bear actually stepped forward, sniffed the board, and gave it a curious shove with its paw. The skateboard wobbled and rolled a few inches, catching the bear's attention even more, almost like it had discovered a new game. The skater, meanwhile, had frozen, unsure whether to laugh, film more, or start praying. A passing car slowed down, the driver hanging out the window yelling, "Dude, get out of there!" But the skateboarder didn't move. The bear stood on its hind legs, towering over the board, giving the moment an almost cartoon-like tension where anything could happen. For a split second, it looked as if the bear might actually try standing on it, which would have made the video legendary beyond measure. Instead, the animal swiped again, sending the board skittering into the trees and losing interest just as quickly as it had gained it. Local wildlife experts later said the man was incredibly lucky, because black bears may appear playful, but in a split second their curiosity can turn into aggression. They also reminded people that once wild animals associate humans with fun or strange objects, it increases the risk of future dangerous encounters for both people and wildlife. What happens next? Is this found footage? Was the footage found in a bear poo? Well, who could possibly say? But if you happen upon a bear as you are wandering around the wilderness, there are a few things that you should never do. Number 1, don't run. That only makes you look like something that's worth chasing. Even though we know that you are not, the bear doesn't think so. Also, don't go skateboarding away. The bear can actually run faster than you can skateboard. And also, stop thinking about the internet likes that your video is going to be getting and find a way to not be mauled by a bear. Such fun. That wraps up today's animal adventures. Have you ever had a close encounter that went completely wrong? Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. And don't forget to check out the other exciting videos showing up on your screen. Until then, I'll see you next time.